The video you're about to see first aired on the Chat Sports YouTube channel, but as promised, all of our NFL draft content can be watched right here. So if you love the draft, regardless of team, orientation, and fandom, whatever, then hit that sub button right now. You guys are watching NFL Daily. I am Tom Downey, and today we're breaking down the updated Mel Kiper 2024 NFL Draft quarterback rankings. Now, Mel has been kind of updating his big boards each Friday, which it's noteworthy that he's making all these changes, and there are big changes on this one with the season long over, which I don't have a great reason why. Maybe he's being told things by the NFL or NFL scouts, etc. Who knows? No change, though, at number one. His still number one overall player is Caleb Williams, the quarterback out of USC. His play was not as good this year. The numbers were not as good. I would also kind of argue that Lincoln Riley's designs of the offense kind of got lost in the sauce a little bit. There was almost some forced hero ball from Caleb Williams this season. And we're still about how, 30-5 was still really, really good. There are moments I wish he would just operate within the structure the way that the play is supposed to be, but he makes so many of uncoachable, out of structure plays that you live with that. You live with some of the die by the sword, live by the sword type of deals. A change here is number two, as Jayden Daniels has managed to somehow jump Drake Maye in the past week for Mel Kiper. Daniels is the Heisman Trophy winner. He is electric. There's no way about it. I mean, you don't have almost 4,000 passing yards and 1,000 rushing yards by not being dynamic. And it's funny because I would argue all the top three quarterbacks this year didn't get great supporting cast help, at least on defense, or even at times on offense for at least some of those guys there. My issues with Daniels are the deep ball is gorgeous. The mobility is wildly impressive. There are moments in both processing and accuracy, especially in the short to middle areas of the field, that it really comes and goes. And that does concern me. My fun player comp here, by the way, is Monstarred version of Tyrod Taylor. But he's bigger, very slender, though. I think he's got better overall skill sets, too. But the mobility and the deep ball accuracy actually really does tie in well to Tyrod Taylor. Just a much, much, much better version, hence the Monstar aspect of it. Number three is Drake Maye, the quarterback out of UNC. Maybe it's just because he wears number 10 and wears some wristband stuff that it's Herbert for me. And he's also big and long. Like, if you were designing more of a prototype quarterback in terms of the size, the arm strength, the mobility, Drake Maye fits that a little bit more than Williams and Daniels, who Williams is kind of small. Daniels is very skinny and can add that much more weight. Maye also offers mobility. I think there's people who love Drake Maye as QB1. I get it. I think sometimes, because he throws a very pretty ball, like everything looks very smooth and fluid. It's not quite as at times, jittery or anxious as sometimes Williams and Daniels can get. But there are times he just flat out misses, but it looks pretty in the process. Kind of like how I think that's an issue sometimes for Trevor Lawrence as well. Who is your quarterback one? CW for Caleb Williams, JD for Jayden Daniels, or DM for Drake Maye? Go ahead and sound off for me at the pinned comment of today's video, especially if the ad comes here on YouTube. Now to number four, and this is where I think you'll see maybe some more disagreements on who should be four as opposed to maybe who should be in that one. There's a tier gap here. J.J. McCarthy out of Michigan. There's a lot of things to like and a lot of things to be scared about. The up and downs and just the inconsistencies and the boom or bustness of McCarthy is very real. He's actually really good on third downs this year, outside of the Washington game, which is noteworthy because that was the biggest game of his career, Almost 3,000 passing yards, 22 TDs, only 4 interceptions, does offer mobility, offers some really good arm strength. There are times he even forces it. He's young, though. He's younger than this next group of tiers, got guys at 5 and 6. And if you are patient with him, I think there is franchise quarterback upside. There's also a concerning downside of he flames out, he's a huge bust, and there you go. Number 5 is Michael Penix Jr., the quarterback out of Washington. If you just flip the even the highlights of the lefty to the righty, it looks fine. It's a little low, like in terms of like kind of not loopy, but kind of flattened on the release. It's fine. The big concerns for Penix are A, how does he handle pressure and being moved off the spot? He's not a great athlete. He can move a little bit, but especially against Michigan, you saw some issues he had previously. Getting moved off his spot didn't go very well for him at times. And the biggest thing is the medicals. He's had 4 season-ending injuries. He played more than 4 years, by the way. He's actually kind of an older prospect. But the deep ball accuracy is also very good. Throws a pretty solid one. There's enough arm strength there, too. Do you trust the medical, and do you trust enough of the pocket awareness and presence that other guys have better than he does? Now, if you want an NFL jersey, you can get one for under $100. Go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. They've got Josh Allen. They've got Mahomes. They've got Kittle. They've got men's. They've got women's. They've got all kinds of jerseys for you under $100. Go to chatsports.com/jersey deal. We'll make sure that link is in the comment section and the description of today's show. Number 6 is Bo Nix. Now, the Auburn version was an undraftable football player. The Oregon-only version is actually far more intriguing, and I wouldn't rule out him going in round 1, even though I'm not sure I'd do that. The numbers are awesome for Bo Nix in that Oregon offense. He was moving the ball consistently, but there was a lot of fake yardage in there. And what I mean by fake yardage is this is a good thing for a college offense. You should run a Mickey Mouse offense. You should run one that has a lot of RPOs and screens and one-read stuff because it works. It works so well at that level. But in the NFL, the things that will make or break you as a franchise quarterback is not that stuff. You can't have nearly 1,000 yards in screen yardage in the NFL. It's just not going to work that way. Nix, I think he offers really great mobility. I value that. There is a potential NFL starter here in Bo Nix. But is it a low-end starter? Or is it a top 15 starter? And if you're not getting top 10 or even top 15 starting quarterback play, is that really worth that first-round pick? That's the question you got to figure out for all 3 of these guys, and if you think they're going to get to that point. That's probably a bit more so for McCarthy, who's much younger than Nix and Penix is, by the way. So pick a QB of this next tier. JJ for JJ McCarthy, BN for Bo Nix, or MP for Michael Penix Jr. Remember when Spencer Rattler was the future number 1 overall pick? I do. Oh, how the turntables sometimes. Rattler was he was awesome in 2020 at Oklahoma. There's no way around it. 28 TDs, 7 TDs, and the whole point was he's going to take a step forward. He's going to be even better, and then he didn't. And lost his job to Caleb Williams. Goes to South Carolina, and it was okay. Supporting cast wasn't great. He's going to be a very interviewed prospect because even you saw it in that Netflix show, QB1, I think it was Netflix. Maybe the leadership isn't always there. Then it has to be sorted out. Sounds like it was much better in South Carolina. The arm is there, but is everything else beyond the arm there? We'll see. If he goes to a spot where he can develop, that's intriguing. The problem is, and this is kind of the issue you're into with a lot of these guys, you're trying to take a developmental quarterback who's going to be 24 as a first-year player. And if he couldn't sort things out through 4+ years in college, is it going to happen in the NFL? That's the concern you run into with some of these older guys. Number 8 is Michael Pratt, who I wouldn't be shocked if he's the 7th quarterback taken in this year's class. There are some things he does very, very well. He's not a statue in the pocket necessarily, and was fairly consistent while showing growth in his time at Tulane. He did miss some games due to injury. Again, I think some of the Tulane stuff was easy and simple, and that will also raise concerns for teams. But if you're looking if there is a day 3 sleeper at quarterback, maybe Michael Pratt is the guy that makes sense. Next up is Joe Milton, who will also be 24 years old. This is going to come in March for him. The arm is maybe the best in this class and maybe a top 5 arm in the NFL. He has a howitzer attached to it. The problem is It's like trying to fire a rocket launcher in COD. You don't always know where it's going to go. It might just miss a little bit. And that's been the story of Milton's career. He was much better in Tennessee, but all the issues that still exist, you go, he was there in college for 6 years. Is it going to develop and grow? There is mobility. There's very good athletic ability. Logan Thomas was a 4th-round pick at quarterback, eventually moved to tight end. That might be kind of like the worst-case scenario for Milton. Or actually, maybe it's Tyree Jackson, if you remember him, the Buffalo quarterback, who was once rated higher as a rookie in Madden than Josh Allen was. Let that sink in. Madden let a UDFA be a higher-rated player. Go figure. The arm is incredible. Big week for him going on right now at the Senior Bowl. Number 10 is Jordan Travis, the FSU quarterback. Might end up getting drafted. So we'll see how that ends up playing out, as things currently sit. The injury was really heartbreaking because it also cost FSU a spot in the CFP. It would have happened otherwise. I love his toughness. I love his leadership. I think that might get him a spot as maybe a QB3 somewhere. I don't know if he has true starting talent and ability. He was also, by the way, in college for 6 years. He was actually a transfer quarterback. Of that list, very few quarterbacks didn't transfer. It's kind of crazy to think about that this entire quarterback class, top guys, the guys who didn't transfer were Drake Maye, J.J. McCarthy, and Michael Pratt. Everyone else transferred. Kind of crazy how much college football has changed. He turns 24, by the way, in May. So who did Mel Kiper leave off his quarterback rankings? Maybe some guys you like. Sound off for me in the comments section right now. Remember how I mentioned transfer quarterbacks? I can expand this list to top 15-ish, give or take, and you've got a lot of transfers on here as well. Sam Hartman, Wake to Notre Dame. He's also kind of pretty old. Devin Leary, NC State to Kentucky. Austin Reed was at Southern Illinois, West Florida, and Western Kentucky. Brennan Armstrong was Virginia and NC State and all these different schools. He's kind of bounced around in recent years. The other Tagovailoa is at Maryland. Tried to get it an extra year. Did not get it in the end. There are some interesting teams, but or interesting prospects. But these guys don't scream future starter, maybe backup at best.